Every blown account starts the same way, not with a bad trade, but with a trader losing confidence. And here's the truth nobody tells you. Confidence is the real currency of trading. Richard William Dammers discovered a way to build it so strong, so unshakable, that even after a string of losses, you trade as if you've already won. Today, I'm going to reveal that secret. But before we dive in, let me quickly say this. If you're watching right now, take a second to hit subscribe, smash the like button, and drop a comment below telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love seeing this community of traders growing from New York to London, Manila to Lagos, and everywhere in between. This is where the market meets the mind. Now let's get into it. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Most traders think confidence is something that magically appears after success. They think, once I finally get consistent profits, then I'll feel confident. But that's backward. That's like saying, once I get strong, then I'll start going to the gym. No, the strength only comes because you train. In trading, confidence comes first. Success follows. Richard William Dammers saw this clearly. He used to say that the real game of trading is played in the 6 inches between your ears. It's not about finding the perfect setup. It's not about having the fastest charting software. It's about whether, in the moment of truth, you trust yourself to execute. Because if you hesitate, if you doubt, if you second guess, that trade is lost before you even click the button. Think about the last time you missed a perfect setup. The chart lined up, the signal was clean, but you froze. Maybe you thought, what if I lose again? That hesitation wasn't caused by the market. It was caused by lack of confidence. And here's the cruel paradox. Without confidence, you can't follow your plan. But without following your plan, you can't build confidence. So how do you break free from that trap? This is where Dammers' secret begins. He believed that confidence isn't an emotion you wait for. It's a skill you train. Just like you train a muscle. You don't wait until you feel strong before lifting weights. You lift the weights and the strength comes. The same with trading confidence. You build it trade by trade, rep by rep, by doing the hard mental reps when things don't go your way. And this is where he shocked most traders. Because he said confidence is not built when you win. It's built when you lose. Winning feels good, but it doesn't test you. Losing does. Every time you take a stop out and still trust your plan, every time you endure a drawdown without throwing your system away, you're laying another brick in the foundation of unstoppable confidence. I want you to picture this. Imagine 2 traders, Sarah and James. Both take a $500 loss today. Sarah freaks out, questions her strategy, spends hours changing indicators, looking for the perfect system. James calmly journals the trade, checks whether he followed his rules, and if he did, he closes the laptop, no emotions attached. Who do you think will still be trading confidently a year from now? Sarah? Or James? Exactly. James. Because Sarah eroded her confidence with every emotional reaction. James built his confidence by proving to himself, I can lose and still stay disciplined. That's the first secret Richard William Dammers wanted traders to see. Confidence comes from how you handle losses, not how you celebrate wins. But let's take it deeper. Why do most traders fear losses so much? Because they see risk as a thief. They see every losing trade as something stolen, money taken, opportunity gone. Dammers flipped that perspective. He said risk is not a thief. Risk is the toll you pay to sit at the table where wealth is transferred. It's not punishment. It's the entry fee. Think of a surfer. A surfer doesn't scream at the wave for being too big. He doesn't panic when the ocean knocks him down. He trains to ride it. Confidence, for a trader, is that same willingness to paddle back into the waves after you've been wiped out. Because you know the wipeout is part of the game. You don't control the wave. You only control how you ride it. And this leads us to a powerful shift in thinking. Confidence must be detached from outcome. Most traders make their confidence conditional. I'll feel good if the trade wins. I'll feel bad if it loses. That's fragile. That's emotional. That's why most traders break. Dammers taught the opposite. Tie your confidence to execution, not results. Did you follow your rules? Did you size correctly? Did you respect your stop? If the answer is yes, you've earned confidence, even if the trade was a loser. That kind of confidence can't be destroyed by a losing streak. Because it doesn't depend on the market. It depends on you. Now, here's the practical way Dammers train this mindset, micro-wins. Most traders only celebrate big profitable days. But that wires your brain to chase outcomes. Instead, Dammers said, celebrate process wins. Did you cut a loss quickly instead of letting it run? Win. Did you resist overtrading after a loss? Win. Did you wait for your setup instead of forcing an entry? Win. These are small victories, but stacked daily, they compound into a deep trust in yourself. It's like compounding interest. $1 doesn't matter, but stack it consistently, and one day you look back and realize you've built wealth. With confidence, it's the same. Every micro win is a deposit into your confidence account. And when the market tests you, you'll have the reserves to hold steady while everyone else panics. So let me ask you right now, are you building your confidence account, or are you overdrafting it with every impulsive mistake? Pause. Think about your last 5 trades. How many were executed in alignment with your rules? How many were sabotaged by fear or greed? The answer tells you everything about where your confidence really stands. The good news? It's not fixed. You can build it starting today. And this is where our journey is headed. Because in the next part, we'll dig into how Dammers reframed failure, not as a setback, but as the very raw material of confidence. You'll see why the best traders don't avoid failure. They embrace it, transform it, and use it as fuel. But before we continue, do me a favor. If this is resonating with you, hit that like button. It helps more traders find this message. Subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below telling me, what's the hardest part of confidence for you? Is it pulling the trigger, holding the trade, or cutting a loss? I'd love to hear your experience. Failure. It's the one word traders hate more than anything else. The sting of a stop out, the gut punch of watching your account dip, the shame of admitting, even to yourself, I was wrong. For most traders, failure feels like proof they don't belong in the markets. But Richard William Dammers saw it differently. He believed failure wasn't the enemy of confidence, it was the architect of it. Think about this. When does a pilot become truly confident? It's not after a smooth flight on a calm day. It's after handling turbulence, storm clouds, maybe even an engine issue, and still landing safely. Confidence comes not from everything going right, but from proving you can handle when things go wrong. Dammers drilled this idea into every trader he mentored. He told them, your trading confidence will never outgrow your relationship with failure. If you hate it, you'll avoid it. If you avoid it, you'll never grow. And this is where most traders get stuck. They want certainty. They want to find a strategy that never fails. They spend months backtesting, tweaking, adjusting, desperate to find the magic formula that eliminates risk. But that's a fantasy. Every system fails sometimes. Every edge has losing streaks. By chasing perfection, they avoid the very thing that builds their confidence, learning to walk through failure without breaking. Let's bring this to life with an example. Picture a trader named Daniel. Daniel backtests a new strategy, and it looks amazing. He runs it live and, boom, first 3 trades are losers. What does he do? He abandons the system, convinced it's broken, moves on to the next shiny strategy. 6 months later, he's tested 10 systems, traded none of them long enough, and his confidence is in ruins. Now contrast that with Maria. Same strategy, same 3 initial losses. But instead of panicking, Maria journals every trade. She reminds herself that backtesting showed drawdowns were normal. She checks, did she execute the rules correctly? Yes. Then she leans back, breathes, and places the next trade. And the next. Over time, her confidence grows. Not because the strategy never failed, but because she didn't collapse when it did. This is the secret Dammers taught. Confidence isn't destroyed by failure. It's destroyed by your interpretation of failure. See failure as rejection, and you erode your self-trust. See failure as feedback, and you build resilience. Dammers had a phrase he repeated often. Failure is not final, it's formative. Every losing trade is a mirror, showing you either that your system needs refinement or that your discipline does. And both are gifts, because both make you sharper. But here's the deeper layer most traders miss. Failure not only builds resilience, it exposes the hidden cracks in your psychology. And that's invaluable. If every trade were a winner, you'd never see the weak spots in your discipline. You'd never discover your triggers, whether it's overtrading after a loss, moving stops, doubling down to get it back. It's only when you fail that the truth about you as a trader surfaces. And if you can look that truth in the eye without denial, without excuses, you can rebuild yourself stronger. It's like forging steel. Heat and pressure expose weaknesses, and only by going through the fire does the steel harden. You as a trader are the same. Confidence forged without failure is brittle. Confidence forged through failure is unbreakable. Now, let's talk about something even more radical. Dammers believed traders should deliberately reframe failure into a kind of training exercise. He used to assign what he called confidence drills. These weren't about making money. They were about testing your ability to stick to process in the face of discomfort. For example, he'd tell a trader, take 5 trades this week where the only goal is perfect execution. Don't care about profit or loss. Just care about discipline. Why? Because when you measure success by execution instead of outcome, failure loses its sting. Suddenly, a losing trade isn't a failure at all. It's a success if it was executed correctly. And this rewiring is powerful. It conditions your brain to stop fearing losses because they no longer threaten your identity. They no longer say, you're a bad trader. They simply say, you did your job. Think about how liberating that is. Most traders live in constant fear of being wrong. That fear paralyzes them. But if being wrong no longer dents your confidence, if it actually strengthens it, you become dangerous in the best way. You become untouchable. Let me ask you, what would your trading look like if you didn't fear failure at all? If every loss was just another rep in the gym of confidence? Imagine how much freer, calmer, and sharper you'd be. Dammers wasn't preaching theory. He lived this. In his own trading, he endured drawdowns that would make most traders quit. But he always said, the market never destroyed me. Only my interpretation of it could. That's the essence of unstoppable confidence. It's not pretending failure doesn't hurt, but refusing to let it define you. Now here's the practical takeaway you can apply starting today. Reframe your next loss before it even happens. Before you enter a trade, write this down. If this trade loses but I executed it perfectly, it's a win for my confidence. Say it out loud. Repeat it until it sinks in. Then when the loss comes, as it inevitably will, you won't spiral. You'll log it as a deposit into your confidence account. Do this for 1 week, then 2, then a month, and you'll notice something incredible. Your emotional swings shrink. The anxiety that once consumed you before clicking buy or sell begins to fade. Why? Because you've taken away failure's power to hurt you. You've reprogrammed your relationship with it. And here's the kicker. When you stop fearing failure, you trade better. You pull the trigger faster. You hold with more composure. You exit with more discipline. Confidence feeds execution, execution feeds results, and results reinforce confidence. That's the spiral Dammers wanted every trader to build. So the next time you feel the sting of a loss, don't ask, why me? Ask, what did this just strengthen in me? Because every loss carries the seed of confidence, if you choose to see it. This is the foundation Richard Dammers built into his approach. But he didn't stop there. In the next stage of our journey, we'll uncover the deeper layers of how he linked confidence to identity. Why the stories you tell yourself as a trader determine whether you build confidence or destroy it. And how shifting your identity can transform the way you show up to the markets every single day. But before we continue, take a quick second. If this perspective on failure has hit home for you, smash that like button right now. Subscribe if you're new here, and drop a comment telling me, how do you usually react to failure? Do you avoid it, fear it, or embrace it? I'd love to know, because your answer might just reveal the next step in your growth as a trader. When Richard Dammers talked about confidence, he didn't just mean the surface-level kind, the kind that makes you feel good after a winning trade. He was after something much deeper. He understood that true, unshakable confidence isn't about how you act in the markets. It's about who you believe you are when you step into them. Because here's the truth, your actions always flow from your identity. If you see yourself as an impulsive trader, you'll act impulsively. If you see yourself as a disciplined trader, you'll act with discipline. The market doesn't shape your confidence, your self-concept does. Dammers used to ask his students a piercing question. When you look in the mirror, do you see a trader who can be trusted? Most froze at that, because deep down, many knew the answer was no. They couldn't trust themselves. They said one thing, I'll wait for my setup, I'll respect my stop, and then did another. And every time they broke their own word, they chipped away at their confidence. You see, confidence isn't built on wins. It's built on self-trust. And self-trust comes from integrity. Doing what you said you would do, even when it hurts. Even when it costs you money in the short term. That's the paradox most traders never get. Confidence comes not from bending the rules to avoid pain, but from keeping the rules to build trust. Think about it like this. Imagine your best friend promised to pick you up at the airport, but every time you landed, they didn't show. How long before you stopped trusting them? Now flip it. Every time they showed up on time, without fail, your trust grew. Over years, that trust became unshakable. That's exactly how your relationship with yourself works. Every time you keep a trading rule, you show up for yourself. Every time you break one, you no-show. And the trust erodes. Dammers taught that most traders aren't failing because of strategy. They're failing because they've built an identity of self-betrayal. They don't trust themselves, and so they act like gamblers even when they know better. But here's the breakthrough. Identity can be rebuilt. Just like a muscle, it can be retrained. And the starting point is small promises. Instead of saying, "I'll trade perfectly for the next month," Dammers told traders, make one small promise you know you can keep. Then keep it. For example, "I will journal every trade today." That's it. Not forever. Just today. Keep that promise. Then tomorrow, make another. Slowly, your identity shifts from "I break promises" to "I keep promises." And when you start seeing yourself that way, confidence becomes natural. This is why he said, "The market doesn't build your confidence. You do by the promises you keep to yourself inside the market." Now let's connect this to trading psychology on a deeper level. Most traders say, "I want to be confident." But what they really want is certainty. They want to know before entering a trade that it will work. But certainty doesn't exist in trading. No setup, no indicator, no signal is 100%. What Dammers taught instead was this: replace certainty with trust. You don't need certainty that the trade will win. You need trust that you will execute correctly, no matter the outcome. And that shift changes everything. Suddenly you stop asking, "Will this trade win?" and start asking, "Will I honor my rules?" One question creates anxiety. The other creates confidence. Now let me give you a concrete picture. Imagine two traders again, Michael and Lisa. Michael is obsessed with being right. He measures his confidence by outcomes. If he wins, he feels great. If he loses, he spirals. His identity is fragile. Lisa, on the other hand, measures confidence by execution. She doesn't need to be certain of the outcome, because she's certain of herself. When she follows her plan, her identity is reinforced. "I am a disciplined trader." And because she sees herself that way, she acts that way. And because she acts that way, her confidence compounds. Do you see the loop? Identity shapes action, action shapes confidence, and confidence reinforces identity. That's the cycle Dammers wanted traders to master. But here's the catch. You can't fake it. You can't just say, "I'm a disciplined trader," while breaking your rules left and right. Your subconscious isn't stupid. It knows when you're lying. That's why Dammers put so much emphasis on alignment, bringing your identity, your words, and your actions into harmony. When those align, confidence is unshakable. When they're fractured, confidence collapses. So here's a practical drill for you, straight from Dammers' philosophy. Tonight, write down 3 identity statements about yourself as a trader. Not what you want, but who you commit to being. For example, "I am a trader who respects risk." "I am a trader who waits for high-probability setups." "I am a trader who journals every decision." Then tomorrow, live them out. Not perfectly, but intentionally. Every time you align with those statements, you deposit trust into your identity. Every time you break them, you withdraw. Over weeks and months, the balance becomes obvious. You either build unstoppable confidence, or you drain it dry. Now let me tell you a personal story that drives this home. One of Dammers' students, we'll call him Kevin, was notorious for blowing up accounts. Every few months gone. He had knowledge, strategies, charts, you name it. But he had no confidence. Why? Because every time he hit a drawdown, he doubled down recklessly to get it back. He knew better, but he couldn't trust himself. Dammers didn't fix him with a new system. He gave him one assignment: make one promise and keep it. The promise was simple. No matter what, I will never risk more than 1% on a trade. At first, Kevin hated it. Too restrictive. But he did it. Week after week. Month after month. Slowly, something shifted. He started to trust himself again. And with that trust came confidence. And with that confidence came discipline. Eventually, his account grew. Not because of the system, but because of the identity shift. That's the power of aligning your identity with your actions. That's how you build a version of yourself who trades with calm authority, no matter the chaos around you. So let me ask you, when you look in the mirror, do you see a trader you can trust? If not, the work isn't in the charts. It's in the promises you're making and keeping to yourself. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to wait months or years to start. You can begin today with one small promise. Keep it, and watch what happens. In the next part of this journey, we'll dive even deeper. We'll explore how Dammers connected confidence not just to identity, but to state control, the ability to manage your emotional state in the heat of battle, so you never let fear or greed hijack your execution again. Because confidence isn't just who you are, it's how you show up when the market tests you. But before we move forward, let me ask you to do one thing. If this insight on identity is hitting home for you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below. What's one small promise you can make to yourself as a trader today? Write it down. You may be surprised how powerful that simple act can be. Richard William had a phrase he repeated over and over. The market doesn't move you, you move yourself. At first, his students didn't get it. They thought he meant the market wasn't emotional. But what he was really pointing to was this. The market can only trigger what's already inside you. If you panic during a drawdown, the market didn't create that panic. It simply revealed the panic already waiting in your nervous system. And this is where so many traders get confidence wrong. They think confidence comes from controlling the market, from predicting what's next, from calling tops and bottoms, from finding a strategy that never fails. But Dammers flipped that on its head. He said, confidence comes from controlling your state, not the market. Control the inside, and the outside can throw anything at you, and you'll still be steady. Think about that. If your confidence depends on the market behaving, then your confidence will collapse the second volatility spikes, the second the market whips against you. But if your confidence is rooted in your ability to manage your own emotional state, then the market becomes irrelevant. You remain grounded whether it's trending, ranging, crashing, or spiking. That's what state control really means. Having the ability to choose how you show up, no matter what the market throws at you. Now, let's get practical. Dammers taught 3 key levers of state control: breath, body, and focus. First, breath. Every trader knows the feeling: palms sweaty, heart racing, staring at the screen as the candles whip back and forth. In that state, you're not trading, you're gambling. Your body is hijacked. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for discipline and logic, is shut down. You're operating on survival mode. But here's what Dammers drilled into his traders. If you can control your breath, you can control your brain. Slow, deep breathing signals to your nervous system that you're safe. And when your body feels safe, your mind comes back online. He would literally have traders practice inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4, exhaling for 6. Not before bed, not in a yoga class, but right there in front of the screens, because that's where the state needed to be trained. Second, body. Confidence isn't just in the mind. It's in the posture, the physiology, the way you hold yourself. Dammers would have his traders notice. When you're hunched over, staring at the screen, shoulders tight, you're telling your body you're under threat. And your body responds with stress. But when you sit upright, relax your jaw, drop your shoulders, you signal safety. And in that safety, clarity returns. Third, focus. Most traders spiral because they focus on the one thing they can't control: the outcome of the trade. Will this work? Will I win? What if I lose? That focus creates anxiety. Dammers shifted their focus to what they could control. Am I following my plan? Am I honoring my stop? Am I trading in alignment with my rules? That focus creates confidence. Because again, confidence is trust in yourself, not certainty in outcomes. Now here's the kicker. Dammers didn't just talk about these levers. He had his students practice them under pressure. He would simulate stressful situations, a sudden drawdown, a fake news event, a string of losing trades. Then he'd watch how his traders responded. If they panicked, he wouldn't scold them. He'd ask, "What state were you in? And how could you shift it?" Because here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your strategy. You fall to the level of your state. You could have the best system in the world, but if you're in a fearful state, you'll sabotage it. You'll cut winners short. You'll let losers run. You'll hesitate on entries. State control is the invisible skill separating amateurs from professionals. Let me tell you a story that makes this crystal clear. One of Dammers' traders, let's call her Alicia, was technically brilliant. Her setups were sharp, her risk management rules were clear. But every time she hit 3 losses in a row, she spiraled. She'd get emotional, force trades, double her size, and undo weeks of progress in one night. Dammers didn't give her a new strategy. He gave her a new state practice. He told her, "Every time you take a loss before you click anything, I want you to stand up, breathe deeply, and reset your posture. Then say out loud, 'Losses are data.' I remain steady. Only then can you take the next trade." At first, Alicia resisted. It felt silly, but slowly she noticed a shift. Losses no longer triggered a spiral. They became just another data point. Because she had trained her body and her focus to stay calm, her mind stayed sharp. Within months, her trading transformed, not because she found a new edge, but because she stopped letting her state destroy her edge. This is why Dammers often said, "The market tests your strategy once. It tests your state every day." Now let's zoom out. If you master state control, what happens? You stop fearing volatility. You stop panicking at drawdowns. You stop chasing certainty. Instead, you start moving with calm precision, even when the market is chaos. And that calm precision is what creates the perception of confidence to others. But more importantly, it becomes the reality of confidence for you. Here's an exercise you can do tonight to begin training this skill. Sit down, close your eyes, and recall your last losing trade. Feel the stress it triggered. Notice what your body did: heart rate, breathing, posture. Then practice shifting it. Slow your breath. Sit upright. Focus on your rules, not the outcome. Repeat until your body begins to believe. Losses don't equal danger. Losses are data. This rewiring, done repeatedly, changes how you show up in real time. And here's the beauty: you don't need years to feel this shift. Even one conscious reset during your next trade can change everything. Because once you prove to yourself that you can shift state under pressure, your confidence explodes. You realize, the market can't break me. Only I can. And I choose not to. That's what Dammers wanted every trader to feel. That deep, unshakable knowing that you are in control of yourself, no matter the storm outside. So let me leave you with this thought before we move into the next part of this journey. Confidence isn't built on wins. It isn't built on outcomes. It's built on identity and state, who you believe you are, and how you manage your emotions when tested. Master those two, and your trading confidence becomes unbreakable. In the next section, we'll go even further. We'll look at how Dammers connected confidence to process mastery, how traders can detach from results, lock into routines, and let their confidence grow automatically as a byproduct of their process. Because once you stop chasing results and start mastering process, confidence stops being something you chase. It becomes something you are. But before we continue, if this resonates with you, if you can see how much your state impacts your trading, do one thing. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment below. What's the biggest emotion that hijacks your trading state? And how will you shift it next time? Share it, because awareness is the first step to control. Richard always said, confidence is not a goal. It's a side effect. At first, that sounds strange. Everyone wants confidence. Traders think it's the prize you unlock after years of grinding. But Dammers revealed something different. Confidence isn't something you aim at directly. It's something that shows up automatically when you master the process. Think about this in your own life. Do you have to psych yourself up to brush your teeth? Do you need a motivational speech before tying your shoes? No. You do it with complete confidence. Not because you studied it, not because you visualized success, but because you've done it so many times, it's automatic. Confidence is born from repetition. Dammers believe trading should feel the same. Not forced. Not shaky. Not "I hope this works." But automatic, ritualistic, embedded so deeply in your identity that execution doesn't require hype. It just happens. The way to get there is through process mastery. Process mastery means detaching completely from outcomes and focusing only on what you can control. It means defining clear rules, routines, and rituals, and then living inside them until they become who you are. Here's where most traders fail. They worship results. They check their P&L every 5 minutes. They measure their worth by their last trade. And because the market is uncertain, their confidence swings like a pendulum, up when they win, down when they lose. That's fragile confidence. It never lasts. But Dammers showed that when you anchor your identity in process, not results, something incredible happens. Your confidence stops fluctuating. You win. Process continues. You lose. Process continues. Volatility spikes. Process continues. Your confidence remains unshaken because it's no longer tied to something you can't control. He would tell his students, detach from the scoreboard. Play the game. Let's break this down into 3 levels: routine, review, and reinforcement. First, routine. Every trader Dammers mentored had a daily ritual: pre-market prep, journaling, meditation or breath work, clear review of rules. Why? Because routine reduces uncertainty. If you wake up and wing it, your mind is already unstable before you even see the chart. But if your routine is structured, your mind enters the market calm, grounded, prepared. Confidence begins before the first trade. Second, review. After every session, his students had to review trades, not to obsess over P&L, but to ask, did I follow the process? If the answer was yes, even on a losing day, that was a win. If the answer was no, they didn't shame themselves, they simply adjusted. That's how you build process-based confidence, by proving, day after day, that you can trust yourself to stick to your own system. Third, reinforcement. Dammers taught traders to deliberately celebrate process wins. Most traders only celebrate profits. But process wins are what matter. Did you take a stop loss without hesitation? Celebrate it. Did you sit on your hands when no setup was present? Celebrate it. Did you resist revenge trading after a loss? Celebrate it. That reinforcement rewires your brain to value discipline over dopamine, process over profit. And over time, confidence becomes the default state. Not because outcomes are certain, but because discipline is certain. Let me give you a powerful example. One of Dammers' traders, Victor, struggled with inconsistency. He'd have hot streaks, then blow up. Dammers didn't overhaul his strategy. He simply gave Victor one assignment. For 30 days, your only job is to execute your rules with perfect discipline. P&L doesn't matter. Win rate doesn't matter. Only execution. At first, Victor resisted. But what if I lose money? Dammers smiled and said, then you lose money. But you gain the one thing more valuable: confidence in yourself. By the end of the 30 days, Victor wasn't just profitable, he was unshakable. Why? Because his self-image had shifted. He no longer saw himself as a trader who hoped to win. He saw himself as a trader who executed with discipline no matter what. And that identity shift created confidence so deep, no drawdown could shake it. This is the final layer of Dammers' secret. Confidence isn't something you do. It's something you become. When you identify as a disciplined trader, confidence flows naturally. You don't have to force it. You don't have to hype yourself up before each trade. You simply show up, follow process, and let the results take care of themselves. And here's the paradox. Once you detach from results, results improve. Because you're no longer sabotaging trades with fear, hesitation, or greed. You're simply executing cleanly. And that clean execution compounds into consistency, which compounds into profits. Confidence first, profit second, always in that order. So let's zoom out and tie this all together. We started by revealing the truth. Confidence is the real currency of trading. Dammers taught that it doesn't come from wins. It comes from losses handled with discipline. That's where the foundation is built. We then saw how failure isn't the enemy, it's the raw material. Every setback, every mistake, every drawdown is a chance to practice discipline, to strengthen trust in yourself. Failure, embraced properly, fuels confidence. We uncovered the role of identity, that you must see yourself not as a result chaser, but as a disciplined executor. That identity becomes the anchor that keeps your confidence steady in storms. We explored state control, breath, body, and focus. Because you don't rise to your strategy, you fall to your state. Master your state, and confidence becomes unbreakable. And now we've ended with process mastery. Routine, review, reinforcement. This is the crucible where confidence stops being something you chase and starts being something you are. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, stop measuring your confidence by your P&L. Start measuring it by your discipline. Ask yourself at the end of every session, did I follow my process? Did I execute with integrity? If the answer is yes, you won. Period. Do that for 30 days. Journal it, track it, and watch what happens. Your confidence will grow, not because the market became predictable, but because you became trustworthy. And when you trust yourself, the market can't shake you. That is Richard William Dammers' secret to building unstoppable trading confidence. Now, before we close, let me ask you, if this video spoke to you, if it gave you a glimpse of how powerful true trading confidence can be, then do me a quick favor. Smash that like button so more traders find this message. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're building a global community of disciplined, confident traders here at Trading Psychology Lab. And drop a comment below letting me know where you're watching from. I want to see traders from every corner of the world mastering their minds together. Because this channel is where the market meets the mind.